Hey guys, we're going to Keith Townsend from the CTOadvisor.com with continued conversations, CTO Dose conversations from VMworld 2018. We're in the Delano, or Delano, I'm told that it's because it's at the Roosevelt Delano Reservoir. Did you know that?
Yeah, it's
I've always called it Delano.
well, it's a so Miami theme, but yeah,
You know,
I like
whatever.
it.
We'll still have a great conversation still.
You know it.
VMworld 2018, we're continuing the great conversations, executives, industry luminaries. We're going to talk about this exciting segment of the industry, data management, secondary data, data protection. We're going to get into these terms in a little bit and find out, get through the fluff and understand why should you even care about this market that we've traditionally looked at as backup. Not quite backup anymore. Let's get into the conversation. One of the guests you've seen on the CTO Advisor before, Rawlinson Rivera, global CTO of Cohesity. And Rawlinson, you brought your boss along this time, Mohit, Aron, co-founder and CEO of Cohesity. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
For having us.
Thanks for having us here.
Not the big boss, the big boss.
The big boss.
The big boss.
Sometimes we all think Rawlinson is the boss.
Yeah.
Well, he carries himself in a manner with, like, if you went to you guys threw a massive party at VMworld last night. That's, if the eyes are looking a little red, it's because of these two guys and bringing one of the largest entertainers in the world, Snoop, to VMworld 2018. And I think that's a great point, ironically, to start the conversation. And Mohit, don't be offended. I think I'm using this term to just, I think, put an exclamation on it. How is it that a backup company is able to bring Snoop Dogg to VMworld 2018? Isn't backup like this thing that's a solved problem in our industry and there's really not much space for innovation?
Well, see, that's the perception that existed before Cohesity was formed, that backups are so boring and unsexy.
Uh-huh.
And we're here to say that's not the case. Backups, and we'll talk more about beyond backups, and we want to take it over to secondary data and apps.
Right.
But this whole region, if you may want to call that, is not boring and unsexy. It can actually be pretty exciting. And in real life, we want to demonstrate that by actually pumping some excitement through bringing Snoop and doing shows like that.
This guy's money right now. This is true right now.
Well, Ron said money to the point. We see the news. $250 million will turn some heads. Even if you're a traditional business line leader, CEO, outside of the CIO suite, when Silicon Valley investors see $250 million of investment opportunity, which makes you guys obviously a unicorn and beyond, what is it that those investors are seeing that the non-IT person should wake up and look at it like, you know what? I take notice not just this space, but at this particular company out of San Jose. What's the story that you're telling investors?
Yeah. So let's talk about our lead investor, SoftBank, who's the lead investor in our Series D. Now, SoftBank writes big checks.
Right.
And, to write big checks, the company better be a disruptive company operating in a big market. So one thing they see is this market of secondary data and apps. It's a $60 billion big. It's a huge market. The second thing they see is we are building the kind of disruption that can practically take over the whole market. It's not just a better backup. It's a platform that extends from the data center to the cloud and has the potential to one day, carry all the world's secondary data on this platform. Imagine data is the most valuable resource today, much more so than oil. And if we offer the promise of one day storing a bulk of the data on this platform, that's what turns their heads. That's what makes SoftBank thinks, okay, this is the kind of company we want to invest in.
So, Rawlinson, I hear the big appeal. Data, the new oil. I'm an investor. I want a piece of a company that has a story around data and how I leverage this new oil. You're charged with taking that message to customers, like making it real. And when I look at my problems, and I say, you know what, I have buckets and buckets, pun intended, of data, and I need a way to get at this. I need a way to mine this oil. What's the big innovation from a technology perspective? What's the big give me the big 2 or 3 innovations that Cohesity helps solve that problem?
Simplicity, collapsing of silos, and innovating without disrupting the data center.
Wait, okay, Rawlinson, this is the CTO advisor. So you can't just come and just give me fluff. I'm going to ask, tough questions. When I hear something disrupting the data center without disrupting, I have and again, CTO advisor, I don't mind dropping names. I have my Commvault.
Yeah.
I have my Veritas. I have 30 years of backup on those platforms. You're talking about disrupting one of the most critical parts of my data center that I don't want to disrupt. You're talking about disrupting it without disrupting it. You can't just talk that talk and leave it there, Rawlinson. How is that possible?
For the past 15 years, the demand to the requirements in which that software was built upon to service a particular need hasn't changed. The new business requirements today has things that say, I need data accessible now, restored now, instant recoveries, those kinds of things. But most of these vendors or some of the solutions that are out there require a rip and replace, or I have to take something out completely.
Right.
Our approach is not that, because we're a platform. We can come in and start in the little part where we want to fix, specifically data protection. After we have the data in the platform, then we can let you do other things. That becomes in the mobility of secondary applications and data. You can do a lot of the things that we do, files and object services that we provide, and then even do things like DR and some of these other things that we do in pushing information to the cloud. That wasn't there before, but when the disruption comes without disrupting, when we can come in and fit into what you have today without having to go all in on it, because we're going to be a much smaller piece than what you already have on-prem. 30 years of traditional, something that's old, you're not going to replace it overnight. So the disruption comes in the fact that we can come in and fit to your operating model, operating procedure, your budgets, work with the current investments that you may already have, because you're not going to get rid of them immediately, and grow sort of like the land and expand sort of approach. So that introduces disruptive technology and approach without disrupting what you're already doing within your operations and kind of systems.
So I understand the big story behind secondary storage. I can't do deep data analytics typically on my tier 1 storage systems. That stuff is transactional. It's not meant to do transactional. Transactional plus this data mining, 2 different types of compute workloads, 2 different focuses. So I can get the data to this secondary data platform. But you know what, Mohit, I'm going to go with you. What's special about Cohesity that I can't just do this in AWS? Any one of the cloud providers that's giving me gigabytes of storage for pennies. What value is Cohesity bringing?
So let me answer your question by actually posing a question. A question in the consumer space. You mentioned to Rawlinson that all this stuff, backups and whatnot, are so critical. How can you go in and replace that stuff?
Right.
But in consumer space, wasn't your phone very critical?
Yeah, I absolutely loved my Samsung candy bar phone that I could sync to my Outlook and get messages. My life was in that phone.
And yet, now we have replaced all those flip phones with a smartphone.
Yeah.
Right? And so what did the smartphone do? It gave us one platform on which you don't not just have a phone, but it also consolidates a GPS device, a music player, a flashlight, a camera, a calculator, and so on and so forth. So it's one platform. It was conceived of to be one platform that not only consolidates these things, but A, provides a single UI to manage all of this, and B, to basically provide an app store to extend the power of this platform. So Cohesity was conceived of as such a platform for the storage space. We start off by being very good at doing backups, but we are not just a backup. This platform, backups is just an app for us, just like phone is just one of the things that smartphone does. So we start off by doing backups, but we then go on to do way more. And you mentioned analytics. It was built to do analytics. Once the data is on the platform, by virtue of maybe you do backups, now you can do analytics on this. Now you can make that data available through file services and object services. Now you can do test and dev on this. Now you can extend this platform to the cloud and do some application mobility. You can have applications running on-prem, move them to the cloud through this platform. And by the way, you can manage it using one UI, just like a smartphone. We released our central UI, Helios, which is SaaS-based. And we have the option of running apps on this platform. So the same innovation that the smartphone brought to the consumer space, we're kind of bringing to the storage space.
So I'm going to buy. I'm an SAP guy. From my SAP infrastructure Rawlinson, we've talked about it before, like the criticality of recovering SAP and beyond recovery. Let's move the conversation past recovery. Let's put some meat behind this. I went to SAP Sapphire this past go around, and SAP is it's all about making data-driven decisions, helping companies make data, leveraging the data that they have at their disposal. Mohit, give me a practical. If I'm a CEO and I want to take advantage of my data that my organization has collected for years. Obviously, it's in these legacy systems that I've used to back up 30 years of data. I have 30 years of data, 30 years potential of insight. How does Cohesity partner with the application to help unlock those insights?
So today, let's talk about the legacy world. In the legacy world, your backups are nothing but an insurance policy.
A bunch of tapes and a vault
and disk drives, which are there for peace of mind. Mm-hmm. We only use them when we need to retrieve data if it's lost or for compliance. And by the way, when we retrieve data, we'll move it to another silo.
Right.
Maybe you mentioned SAP, we'll move it to a silo where we can draw some insights from that data, right? So that's something that I call moving data to the compute. Mm-hmm. You just take the data where it is and move it around. And it's very expensive to move petabytes of data. Our philosophy is let's move compute to the data. The data is already there by virtue of the fact that you've taken backups. How about this platform where backups is just an application? Now that that platform has the data, how about we move compute to it? How about we move analytics to it? How about we move that application that runs SAP, HANA, or what have you on this platform, right? And so now you move compute to the data, and now you can operate on that data in place. That's the value, that's the vision that Cohesity wants to promote. So we will look to partner with application vendors like SAP or plenty of other vendors out there. Just like the smartphone has apps, not only from Apple, but also from other vendors. You have Google Maps and you also have Apple Maps. So similarly, we'll have some apps that are written by us, but some apps that are written by other vendors.
So last question that we'll close out on. We're at VMworld 2018, Rawlinson. Is Cohesity a data center only play?
No. I think we kind of addressed this one time in one of our previous meetings. So today, because we're not, let me see, a data center in particular, it depends, right? Cohesity can live on the edge, a core, and in the cloud anywhere. Because we have different implementations of the same software, the same platform that could be anywhere. We provide different services and capabilities which may be used for the many things that Mohit just mentioned. Maybe one of the things you want to tackle has to do with data protection. Maybe not. Maybe the different approach you want to use is a file, service, and object capabilities from some point that's sitting somewhere. It could be used for IoT stuff. It could be the target where things come and sit on it and things that can pull and process and collect it. We can push data and move applications anywhere, whether it be a private data center, public data center, or any location that needs to be, any point, any direction. So it's not just a matter of a data center. The data center is an enterprise kind of thing that we do. It's a solution designed specifically to fit that. We tend to design things for one purpose, and later on we find that they fit other areas, other capabilities. And I look to do that every day. Would you see some of that stuff?
And I would go on to say that Cohesity was not conceived of as a platform that limits itself to just the data center or just one of the clouds. It was conceived of as a platform that can span the data center and multiple clouds. And that's a central single UI I spoke about, then manages all of that platform. So in the nuts and bolts, yeah, you may have some physical clusters, you may have some things running in the cloud, but overall the picture we want to present to the customer is the picture that's similar to a smartphone. They shouldn't have to worry about the nuts and bolts. They look at this as one platform.
Well, Mohit, Rawlinson, great having you on the CTO Advisor. I really appreciate you guys answering some tough questions. Great job. Look forward to having you on the CTO Advisor again and seeing, as you add more applications to that platform, we'll want to have conversations around those apps and the value that it brings to the business. Until the next time, you can follow all of the CTO Advisor content on thectoadvisor.com. You can find this and other videos, ctodose.com. Until we talk to you next time, visit those channels. Talk to you.